Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to look at the service of my new daily driver, and because this car was bought with no service history whatsoever, it doesn't mean that the car was never serviced. Probably I will find out a few items that were actually serviced in this car, but however, since I have no history of them, I might as well just do a service myself. It's always the best option to do it anyway, because at least when you go and sell on the car at a later stage, you will still have at least some sort of history, like receipts of the parts that you've bought and the work that you carried out yourself. So what I've done, I just went to GSF car parts. I've ordered online a new set of goodies. So I got the usual promotions, got the receipt here for in the future if I need to have a history of the car. And what have I got? A cabin filter, which probably no doubt it'll be filthy. Oil filter, 4 spark plugs, an air filter, some oil, 5W30 fully synthetic, and also a couple of tail stop light bulbs, which will be covered in a different video. All this has actually it was actually very good. It cost me £57.62, which is much cheaper than taking to a garage and doing all service. Why get someone else to do it when you can actually do the job? But first, we're going to look at the condition of all these items that are currently fitted in the car. Now, first things first will be the spark plugs, which probably they are still the original ones. The car is 100,000 miles, so let's just have a quick look at them. Oops, wrong way round. They don't look too bad actually, but if we look, actually the gap is actually the gap is actually a little bit more than 1.3, don't you think? Yeah. And these are still the original Ford Motor Company spark plugs, which means that these either were serviced a long time ago or are still the original ones. And this one as well. And this one as well. That has quite a huge gap actually. That's probably nearly 2 minutes, means that electrode has already worn, same as the other spark plug. And this is the second one, which means that all the other 2 spark plugs, number 3 and number 4, will have the same wear. This is number 3, also the same type of wear. And number 4 is also in the same condition. So depending on availability, I normally use either NGK or Bosch spark plugs. This time I bought some Bosch ones, and they are pre-gapped to 1.3 millimeters, which is the normal factory recommendation by Ford. Although some people say that they should be gapped to 1 millimeter, and these are the Bosch HR. Just focus this a bit, and these are the Bosch HR8 MCV Plus Russia, which are exactly the same as the factory ones. The only difference is that they don't say Ford Motor Company logo, but it's still the HR8 MEV. Some people also use the NGK ones, which are very good as well, but to be fair, these were actually a bit cheaper and still is the same as the original, so why not going for those ones? And let's compare the gap between the old spark plug and the new one, and that is a considerable difference, because the electrode on the older one is much more worn than the new one. If you put them like this side by side, you'll see that there is a bit of a difference between the two of them. So let's just put new spark plugs in. 10mm long socket and ready to go. No need to pre-gap. Very easy to do. Now, according to Bosch, the spark plugs should be torqued down to 20 newtons per meter or 15 feet per pound. So and voila, spark plugs are done. Right, to remove the air filter you need the number 7 socket, which, to be fair, I don't understand why you need to remove 4 bolts for this one, because many other auto factors, motor car manufacturers don't need all these bolts. It's just only an air filter, just a few clips and that's it. Unless, of course, Ford took the cheapest option and they decided to go for bolts. There you go. Doesn't seem to be too bad. Actually, it's a little bit dirty. Actually, it is quite dirty. It's in between the fins. It's actually, I've seen worse, to be perfectly honest, but on the outside it's actually a bit dirty, even on the inside. Although because it's very bright in here, it actually looks a bit cleaner than what it is, but air filter is an air filter anyway, so yeah. So let's just take the usual leaves and all other debris that you might find inside. There's this here, which I have no idea what it is. It's a bit oily. I'll look into that at a later stage. It could be something for the crankcase. Yes, this pipe goes into here. Looks like an air breather filter. Goes up to there. It's a bit oily though. I might look into that actually. Okay, now try to put the filter back into place. One thing that I noticed when looking for filters for the Ford Focus Mark II is that many of them that come online actually show the panel filter, not the cylindrical one. So be careful when you're going for a Mark II facelift. Most of them, like the 1.6, at least on this car, I'm not sure about the other ones, they will have a cylindrical filter, not the panel filter, so be careful when you're going to order it. This just slots easily into place. There you go. So it's all done. Now let's move on to the other bits in the engine. Now those were the easier bits, spark plugs and the air filter, because they're very easily serviceable items. Let's look at the other things in the car. The battery tray is in here. Hello. It has a Yuasa battery. That means this is not the original battery, and the car being 10 years old already had a replacement battery. Just funnily enough, my wife's OKA, the original Ford battery, lasted 12 years. So obviously this one hasn't lasted as long, but it still keeps going. It means that the battery is recent, so that's probably one thing less to worry about. And now, I did mention that area over there. There's a bit of an oil bit in there, just where I just replaced the filter, but I'm going to look into that at a later stage. Everything here actually seems to be pretty much all right. Power steering fluid seems to be okay. As you can see, it's right there, right onto the level. I'm not sure if I should change it or not. I have to look at the Ford service record in order for the change intervals. The very awkwardly placed brake fluid, yeah, it's in level. I might just go and replace that at some stage as well, probably when I replace the front discs. In terms of colour, I don't think it's too bad really, but it is something that has to be replaced every few years because the brake fluid is hygrocaustic, I think, yeah, because it absorbs moisture. Now with the fluid, with the coolant fluid, I'm not too bothered about, and the reason is, it's nice and coloured in pink. The reason is just because the car is going to be booked next week or so for a cam belt change, and that will also have a coolant change as well, so that's one thing I'm not going to worry about. But I'm just noticing something really strange in here, and it is that. Do you see that over there? It looks like there has been some visitors. Yeah. Yeah, that over there looks like that this car has had a few unwanted tenants. Well, I don't see any chewed wiring or anything like that, but can never be too careful. So that's it for now. Let's have a look at the oil. I already had checked the oil level before in the car, and it was actually not too bad. Always do this, always just take it out, clean it, put it back on again, and just check. It's right on the mark, on the maximum mark. Just do it once more. It's not, it doesn't need a change actually. Something that probably just really do anyway, and it's something that I'm going to do on a different day. That's it. Oil change is due. I have the oil and oil filter anyway, so that will be done very soon. Now, the cabin filter is a bit of a faff to get replaced in this car because it's all under the dashboard, as opposed to many cars where it's just where it's located on the engine bay, and it's just really under the air vents. So this one here, you just have to remove this mat, pop these tabs which will reveal some torque screws that have to be unbolted. So torque screws T25, 3 of them. And 2 more here on the top, and plus 2 in here as well. Actually 7 bolts that have to be removed. This off. Stop it here. There is a tab here which is for the auxiliary plug. Unplug it and just put this on the side. It also helps to remove the thing as well out of the way. One thing that helps as well is to lower the fuse box to gain a little bit of extra access to the back. So as you can see in here, where I'm pointing the light at, I have to remove that cover over there. There's one bolt at the top and another one further at the bottom, and that's where the pollen filter is located. So what I'm going to do is to pull down, twist down the fuse box and slide it away so that I can have access, a bit of better access to the pollen filter box. Number 7 socket. To make things a bit easier, I definitely recommend removing the actual glove box lid, and then to access the third screw at the bottom, you just basically put the fuse box back into place. It's an absolute faff, this. I mean, this is absolute rubbish. And then from here, from the top, I'll just take the cover off and then slide into space. Take the fuse box off again. This is the most stupid thing I've ever dealt in the car, and I've dealt with many cars. And then you just slide it away. I believe I spoke too soon. First you have to take that bracket over there, and there's 2 nuts, one there and one there, that use a number 13 socket. And hopefully that's it. Oh, this looks very dirty already. Okay, this looks already horrendous, so I'm going to remove it with a bit of brute force, not to damage anything else. Oh, this looks horrible. And here it is. One carbon activated filter, which, look at the fluff. I wonder, when was the time this was changed? I think this was never changed. It still has the full original one. This was either done at first service of 50,000 miles, but look at this. It's horrendous. It's absolutely horrendous. Oh well, time for a new one. Happy days. Now time to put the new one in. Wish me luck. You probably have noticed, guys, that I have used a cheaper filter. The reason is that I intend to just to do this as an interim service, not really a full-on yearly service. So therefore I will be changing this in around 6 months time. The same will apply to the oil and the oil filter as well. So I assume that it goes from here, that's the fan there, and it goes, and I can feel the heater matrix in here, so I guess it goes from the fan up to heater matrix, which means that this has to be the other way around. The guy that came up with the solution should have his wages ducked, because this is absolutely ridiculous. And probably some of you say, yeah, probably you're being a total idiot by not doing it properly. Well, probably I am. Never mind. It's the joys of motoring. Think of the amount of money that I've saved by doing this. That's the most important thing nowadays. How this goes back. Yeah, like that. Goes there. Slots. Finally. Now it's time to put things back into place. Just these usually just click in, allegedly. And now put the inside of the casing. Get it back in. I'm not going to over tighten any of these bolts. Once everything is roughly into place, then I'll just do a final. There you go, all done. Now let's just do a final test. Yeah, it should come. Yeah, it doesn't feel funny anymore. Have a state of that. Ugh. It's absolutely horrendous, this filter. I don't know how anyone could have had this in their car for this long. I know this is carbon activated filter, but it is absolutely awful. Really, really bad. Oh well, there you go. That's the job done for today. Oil filter will be next.